So this first video is a quick one about what to do about broken legs and small scratches. So I don't have any large traditionals with any broken legs, so I snapped this guy's leg off just to show you. But with stablemates, the process is a little different just because their leg is so small, and you can't actually drill a hole. Now, what happens when you break a leg is that the plastic becomes extremely weak around that area where this part was broken off. So what you need to do is, on like a traditional or classic or whatever, anything bigger than a stablemate, you drill a hole in here, so on this side, and then you drill a hole in that side. Now, you don't want it super big because it does weaken the leg, so just make it as big as necessary to fit a very small piece of wire. I recommend a little bit of thicker wire just because the thin stuff does not hold well. I believe it was an 18 gauge, a 12 or an 18. Or you could use a 24, I think. But anyways, you just drill a hole on both sides here, and then once that happens, you take super glue. I have no idea where mine is. Oh, here it is. Take some super glue. You can get this at most places around town and stuff. Target sells it. Walmart sells it. Basically anywhere sells it. Then you take the super glue and you dab some inside the leg where you have the piece of wire. Let it dry. Then you go to the other side and then kind of smush it up in there. But make sure that your wire is not super long, because if you have a super long wire in a small hole, you won't be able to get the full piece of wire in there, and then you'll have like this extension thing like that. So make sure your wire is short. You know, you can cut it off like right at the stem, just enough so you know that it'll fit inside. And then you take super glue and do the same thing on this side. And then you let it dry. And if there is a like, let's say, like a little gap around the opening, you're going to need to take some epoxy sculpt and fill that in. It'll also help re-strengthen the area. Okay, so dealing with small scratches. As you know, Breyer paints their horses with airbrush. So when you paint your horse with airbrush, it's a different texture than regular acrylics. So like this guy, he's done in airbrush. It is acrylic based, but it's made and chemically a little different than regular acrylics. So like regular acrylics here, like this, are a little bit more grainier and thicker and compound than airbrush, which looks like, where'd it go? Oh, up there. Hold on, let me get the airbrush paints here. Even though they are chemically the same thing, and almost in the same sense, they have the same chemical compound of airbrush or acrylic, they're a little different. So you can see here, this is kind of very, if you can hear that, it's very watery. So even though they are acrylic based, they are different. Why this is more thick, and this is more grainy than what the airbrush paints are. But airbrush paints are also pretty good if you just want to paint by hand, let's say. So let's say you have a model that got damaged with a scratch or something. I don't have any models here with scratches on them, so I can't demonstrate. But I'll do like this little kind of thing here. Okay, so what you do is you get an airbrush paint, doesn't really matter what brand, and you color code the horse. So you say, okay, this horse is a light cream color. Okay, so I don't have light cream, but this is the closest color I have. So what I would do is I would take this color, make sure you shake it, take this color, put a little dab in there. Now you only need one drop. You don't need like a glob of it. And airbrush paints can be expensive, just depending on what brand you get, but I find if you order them off the internet, they are a lot cheaper. Okay, then you take a dab of the white, and this is how you start out, is you keep mixing them until it gets lighter. Now you can see this is way too gold for this horse. But what you would do is you just go over and fill in the area. Like that. Okay? But see, it's a lot darker than what it should be. So you keep adding white. And you keep experimenting until you find the right color. Okay? Then when you find the airbrush color that it should naturally be, go outside and spray that area with matte finish. Okay? So that's how fixing some scratches. Now, if you don't have, let's say you don't have the money to buy airbrush paints, you can also buy acrylics and do the same thing. Mix the base color coat of what you think it is, and then mix white or black to get the shade that you're looking for. Okay, so I hope that helps. If you have any further questions, let me know.